All right, hello. This is my pre-planning assignment for my final project for EHD537. So something that I am really interested in is the flipped classroom model, and I'm looking forward to learning more about it. I have an AP psychology class. We meet on an AB block schedule, 85 minutes every other day, so 7 hours and 5 minutes every 2 weeks. Now that I say that, it sounds like a lot of time. It doesn't feel like it to get through all of the material. And so something I've been considering is flipping the classroom so that I can do lectures and kind of like mini lessons as homework, and then do more project-based sort of application stuff in class. So, my objectives, I'd like to deliver unit lectures via online videos of 10 minutes or less that correlate with the textbook readings. And I'm hoping that that will also be kind of a differentiation so that kids can both read the textbook, which I think is important, especially as kids are going on to college, but also have me explain things with more examples. And hopefully, if they're 10 minutes or less, that can be not too much of a burden. I'd like to use formative assessment to assess student understanding in the moment. I really like how we have the videos with the questions. It feels a little bit tokenized in this class because the questions aren't very hard, but I'd like to actually assess understanding and have that happen automatically. I'm not great about timely feedback, and so automatic feedback would be really helpful. I'd like to develop in-class extension activities that both reinforce and build on topics delivered via the flipped model. That way I can also assess understanding in a more informal way, as well as assess whether or not they can apply concepts. And then also just allow for active engagement and discussion in class. I am not a teacher who loves lecturing, and so being able to do more hands-on activities would really be exciting for me, and I think more exciting for students. In terms of building community, I have a lot of thoughts and then also quite a few questions. So in terms of participant engagement, I'd like to try a couple of different things. Like I said, I'd like to try the Ed Puzzle kind of format where kids have to watch a video and then answer questions. I also think that jigsawing out concepts could be helpful here, where kids have to learn a concept on their own and then teach it to the rest of their class. Probably all of you know what a jigsaw is. I think that can be helpful because teaching is actually one of the best ways to learn something. And then I think also if I can have kids, and this is kind of an informal assessment as well, have kids find examples in their daily lives of given concepts that we're learning about, like say it's groupthink or something for sensation and perception, or really anything in psychology is applicable to kids' lives. Conditioning, right? If kids can either take a picture or make a little video or something like that to help illustrate concepts, I think that will really help kids to get a broader understanding. In terms of the parent community, I have some questions and some ideas. One is to invite parents in to demonstrate concepts, like when we go over parenting styles or attachment, maybe we could have some parents come in and like give interviews, kind of, so that kids can learn about those categories. Could also invite them in to observe. This is something that I've been thinking about all year, just because we've had a lot of behaviors, and that would be interesting. Local community, I already kind of do this, but having guest speakers has been really successful. So therapists or counselors or neurosurgeons, just ways for kids to kind of get out of the textbook, out of the class material and into the real world. And I'm not really sure for workplace community. I'm kind of working on that. In terms of assessment, I think that I want a lot of formative assessment. I recently read Grading for Equity by Joe Feldman. He talks a lot about having a lot of formative assessment and then some very deliberate summative assessment. I'd like to use both qualitative and quantitative feedback. So giving both grades, but also just written feedback. We use something called Feed Forward in our freshman group, where they have to basically take our feedback, digest it, and then write notes to themselves for the next time that they complete an assignment. And then something else that really stuck out to me from the readings this week was by Wiggins, when he said, a lot of teachers say there's no time to give feedback, and that's something that I definitely use, and I'd hope to be better at that. I haven't really figured out what I want to do for summative assessments. Usually I do a test, but I'd like to do something a little more involved than that. And then pre-assessment is something I struggle with just because you're always going to get kids not really knowing a ton about a topic. Now that I'm saying it, I guess for psychology, kids do actually come in with a little bit of knowledge. So maybe some broader questions there. Other considerations, like I said, I'd like to use differentiation. I'd like to use recorded lectures, obviously with like closed captioning and all of that. And also I use an open source textbook. I use OpenStax, that's what it's called, psychology textbook. I'd like to really place a value on questioning and kids being able to ask questions, but also metacognate and think about what they need to learn. I'd like to think about engagement, so having kids bring real life examples or having discussions on topics. And then I'd also like to reach out to resources in the school, the academic support team being one, online programs like Edpuzzle and Socrative being another, just to kind of pull in as many supports as I can. So I feel like I'm ending with a lot of questions as well as some vague thoughts. So would love to hear any of your feedback, and I appreciate you watching. There's